absolutely. Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm from Cutwork Architecture and Design Studio. And the polyblock and the polyroom concept were the scale 1 prototype of the new co-living brand of Bouygues Immobilier, which is now called Nomo. This was a pre-product exploration, let's say, of how we can use modular within the product itself in order to scale more rapidly, to build more effectively, perhaps even less expensively, but definitely the question of volume and scale and speed and environmental sustainability was a big topic there. So the exploration of Polyroom was the idea to make a scale 1 prototype that we could deliver in Paris and then use it for 6 months and test and see how the product would go. So it helped us to understand all of the interior design innovations, like the bed that disappeared into the ceiling, all of the reconvertible kitchen elements. Really allowed us to just do a lot of user testing also. They had around 100 test users come in with Google Glass and see where everyone touched and get heat zones, and it gave us a lot of feedback of how we're going to design the actual first sites. Well, I mean, it really depends on which type of modular you do, because clearly timber frame modular is going to be different than steel frame. We absolutely have less construction waste in modular in general, because everything is controlled within a factory floor. One of the most interesting parts of modular for me is the productivity of workers on site and understanding how we move faster through a construction site. And one of the leaders in modular in France, Pascal Chazal, he quotes a number saying that an average construction worker on a construction site is actively productive only 30% of the time. All the other times they're moving equipment, they're moving tools, so we really see how we can go much quicker, which allows us to then open a site faster, which then allows us to begin all of the operations sooner, which allows a more sustainable financial side of the product. But if we use timber, steel, or timber frame modular, for example, we can have a very sustainable product. So for us, the potential social benefits of co-living are enormous, because we think that co-living is really just the first door into an exploration of many different types of, let's say, more alternative or experimental housing typologies, which we think are essential today. Our theory as architecture and design studio is that there's new evolving ways of living and working, and in the living spectrum, there's at its current state very few products that are matching the needs of how living habits are evolving, especially when we look at the fall of the traditional family. As I mentioned yesterday, in cities like Munich, this represents only 14% of all households, so 2 parents, 2 kids. Therefore, it's kind of crazy when we think there's not more housing products for single parents, more housing products for roommates living together, more housing products for intergenerational living. So we see co-living as really the gateway to a more mainstream adoption of exploration in housing products. So that's what's really exciting to me. When I think about the definition of co-living, I think of shared residency, shared living, where we have in its commercial form, let's say, co-living would be several residents living together in a shared flat or in an intentionally designed building for co-living, where we have 6, 7, 8 residents who have an individual bedroom, and then they actually share in a cluster format a kitchen and a living area. So we optimize the space. We have larger shared facilities, and that allows us to do kitchenettes in the bedrooms instead of individual kitchens in each room. It creates social interactions. So for co-living, many people are in a phase of life where they're in a transitional period, or they're young in their first jobs in a big city. They've gone through a major life change, such as a separation or a divorce. They're looking for some way to radically change their lifestyle and need some sort of a transitional space also, and co-living can provide at once a very accessible, flexible living solution, while also providing social interactions, which can be key in many of the lifestyle, let's say, different lifestyle movements that people have.